Thank you everybody for coming on a Monday night to hear about meditation. My name's Denis and I've been a student here for many years at Tara Institute, a student of Geshe Doga, who's our resident teacher here. And so I just wanted to share with you tonight, over the next 4 weeks actually, I'll be giving talks on the essence of what Buddhism is all about, and then at the same time we'll practice some meditation together, and you'll be able to take that home and do it by yourself and just experience the benefit that you can gain from meditation. And it's not just meditation that you gain benefit from. I personally gain great benefit from the opportunity to have met with the Buddha's teachings and to understand what the Buddha's teachings are about, and the incredible great fortune that we have and the potential that we have to develop as human beings, to develop our mind and to develop ourselves to, well, ultimately the goal of Buddhism is to achieve the state of highest enlightenment, which every sentient being has the potential to achieve. So, so the structure of the night is, it'll go for an hour. So we'll do a meditation for 10 minutes at the start, and then maybe a talk for 20 minutes. Please, if you've got any questions, raise them. I'd love to have a go at answering your questions and generate a bit of discussion. Puts me at ease as well. I'm not really used to public talks, but I did do the November talks last year as well, so I'm familiar with the topic. And then we'll finish with a 10-minute meditation at the end of the day. So, all right, so let's start, first of all, by just getting in the most comfortable position you can get in. Feel comfortable. You don't want any pain from legs or anything. Be comfortable, but try and assume as best you can what's called the sevenfold meditation posture. And this is the posture that is demonstrated by one of the aspects of the Buddha called the Vairochana Buddha, and it's the fully purified form of the body that appears in that aspect. So we try to simulate that aspect in meditation as sort of an auspicious sort of feature. But so perhaps the most important thing is to have a straight back. So you can sit comfortably, you don't have your legs crossed, but sit comfortably, and you'll observe yourself. If you have a straight back, your concentration levels increase. Like slooped, it's a bit sleepy. So straight back, legs crossed comfortably or flat on the floor, not crossed if you're on there, but whatever's easiest, but if you can, feet flat on the floor or legs crossed. And then your right hand resting on your left hand, thumbs touching, and then pointing towards your navel. And then your shoulders, try and have them loose and a little bit of away from the body, so a bit of airway. And your tongue resting gently on the palate. And your head tilted slightly forward. And then your eyes slightly open. You have to play with this, with what works best. It says you should try to focus on the tip of your nose, so maybe the nostrils, focusing loosely on the nostrils. Not a tight focus, but just a loose focus. You can close your eyes completely if you want, but just be wary that you might fall asleep. So it's good to keep your eyes a little bit open. The other point to help keep your back straight, if you're sitting on the floor, you should have the cushion a little bit higher at the back, and that just helps support that. Sometimes it's described like having imagining a stack of coins that are perfectly vertical. breath, we're able to lessen the distractions that are happening in our mind. And it's a focal point. So let's try and do this 21 times. So what that means is we breathe in and we feel the sensation of the breath as it simple meditation that we can do at home in a quiet time. And if you really connect with that image of the Buddha in front of you, or even if you want to imagine the sun, some bright source of great virtue is what you're breathing in the white light of, completely filling you, and you're just expelling all of those negativities. So that's something that we can do. Is anybody new here that hasn't been to Tara Institute before, that's been very brave, that's decided to come along to learn meditation? Well done, well done. And, the thing is about Buddhism, which many of you may already be familiar with, it's something very safe. We're not doing anything other than dealing with ourselves, with our own mind. And society already recognises that Buddhism is about gentleness, peacefulness, non-harmfulness. So it already has a great reputation, and people generally understand that. And you hear people say, "Oh, it's not a religion; it's a way of life." And, I don't care what you call it really, but that's pretty well what it is. It's about developing our own inner potential and positive qualities, acknowledging them, trying to suppress them, and trying to be the best human being that we can be. Really, that's what Buddhism is about. That's what all the religions are about, aren't they? They're all about developing love and compassion and forgiveness. Those qualities are absolutely the essence of Buddhism as well. The entire Buddha's teachings are often summarised into 3 points. Not to harm others, to help others if you can, and to train the mind. So they're the 3. There's nothing hidden anywhere. And so to train the mind, why do we need to train the mind at all? Well, perhaps you might have noticed even in that meditation, our mind is very distracted. It's very hard to focus our attention for a long time on our meditation object. It is possible to develop a level of concentration called single point of concentration, or shamatha, or shine in Tibetan, and it's perfectly stable, unwavering concentration, way beyond anything that we've ever experienced. It's developed over a great period of time through 9 levels of development. And eventually, with that level of concentration, you're able to use that as a tool to investigate any meditation topic. And with that high level of concentration, combined with developing wisdom, you're able to actually cut the roots of the ignorance that are actually the root cause of all our problems. That's actually the very root. So concentration is very important. But anyway, that's a bit of a leap. What I wanted to try to demonstrate is that our mind is often compared to a wild elephant. Because if you can imagine an elephant in the villages of Thailand or India or wherever there are wild elephants, they're very destructive. They can harm people, they destroy things, and so people fear a wild elephant. And just something that came to mind in one of the stories of the life of the Buddha, apparently a wild elephant came into a village, everybody fled in fear, and the Buddha, without the slightest fear, stood there, and I'm not quite sure what he did, but he stood there with great peace and no fear, and showed no fear, and that elephant was totally subdued, and it actually just stopped still, and I don't know if it bowed to the Buddha, but the story is that the wild elephant was totally subdued. Anyway, that's just a sidetrack. And for those of you that have seen Crocodile Dundee, you know, I always love that little thing where there's a wild buffalo and Crocodile Dundee, you know, just with his concentration focuses on the buffalo and subdues it. Anyway, I just thought that was interesting to with the Buddha as well. But anyway, we're just talking about a wild elephant, and that can do limited damage. But the wild elephant of our mind can do far greater damage. You know, if we don't take control of our mind out of extreme anger, out of extreme hatred, we could kill someone. We could hurt somebody. People do these things. This happens in the world. We see it every day, unfortunately. So the untamed mind is extremely destructive, and their mind is exactly the same as our mind. The same potential exists. I don't like the prospects of people that engage in those sort of things. Just to read a verse from Shantideva in his book called A Guide to a Bodhisattva's Way of Life. This is a wonderful text. Anybody read that text or heard of that text before? What a ripper then. That's great, because this is the most wonderful text, and I'll tell you more about the story about that text. But anyway, what he says is, in this world, unsubdued and crazed elephants are incapable of causing such harms as the miseries of the deepest hell, which can be caused by the unleashed elephant of my mind. So it's a pretty heavy thing. Buddhism isn't really about fire and brimstone, but there's no avoiding the fact that at the end of this life, which will end, it will end one day. And Buddhism, of course, talks of reincarnation and the continuation of the mind. So we can talk about that shortly, about what people think about that. But with the considering the continuation of mind beyond this life, there are only two options for our next life. We are either reborn in what are known as the lower realms, or we are reborn in the upper realms. And the human life that we have been born into is one of the upper realm births that we could achieve. There's another couple of the godly realm, the demigod and the godly realm. We can't see these realms, so it doesn't really matter. But there are upper realms which we have experienced, and then there are lower realms, like the animal realm, for example. We can see animals, we can see insects, we can see birds, we can see fish. All of these things are rebirths in the lower realms. And to be reborn in the lower realms is usually characterised with a great deal of suffering. A great deal more suffering than we experience in the human realm. And there are even more unfortunate births called the preter realm, which is a realm you can imagine of beings that are forever searching for food and drink and never finding it. It's a different realm. You know, it's a bit hard to understand because we can't see it, but the Buddha described it, and our teachers teach that it's possible to be reborn in the preter realm. And the number of beings in the preter realm far outweigh the number of beings in the animal realm, and the number of beings in the animal realm far outweigh the number of human beings. And then, of course, there is a hell realm that, I'm just getting all this out. You know, there's a cold hell and a hot hell. There's 8 cold hells and there's 8 hot hells. And there's, adjacent hells, they call them, I think. But to give you one example, this isn't even on my topic, but that quote mentions that with the wild elephant of the mind, if you create an extremely negative action, harmful enough, the result is potentially potentially that you could be reborn into such a place. And so Geshe Doga, who's the resident teacher here at Tara Institute, once mentioned to us, he doesn't often teach on that, but he did once mention one of the, described one of the hell realms. And I've always remembered that. And so you can imagine, it's called the hell of razor sharp leaves. And so in the forest of razor sharp leaves. And so the person that's born there is chased by dogs that want to attack it. And they climb up the trees to escape the dogs. But the leaves are razor sharp. So they're being beckoned by their mother and their parents or friends to climb. So they're climbing the tree. And when they get to the top of the tree, this is all in imagination, but this is talked about. The crows with iron beaks attack them once they get to the top. And they have to go climb down, and then the leaves are now facing up. So anyway, it's just a horrible thing. You can imagine what that would be like, but that's a moderate description of the cold or the hot hells that you could potentially be born into. So I'm trying to connect here between the mind and the importance of taming the mind in order to control our actions of body and speech. If we control our mind, we can control our actions of body and speech. If we don't, then we can't. And we're going to engage in non-virtuous actions of body and speech. And there are consequences of that in our next life. And then just to go on to the next verse from Shantideva, he says, however, if the elephant of my mind is firmly bound on all sides by the rope of mindfulness, all fears will cease to exist and all virtues will come into my mind, into my hand. So it's possible to tame the wild elephant mind. And how are we going to tame it? Well, what are we wanting to tame? What we're wanting to tame are the things that we can all relate to in our immediate life. Anger. People annoy us. We get angry. Sometimes we get really angry and we shout. Sometimes we get so angry people hit each other. So we're all vulnerable to anger. Anger is very destructive. We know it's destructive because we feel miserable when we're angry. The person that we're angry at feels miserable and they get angrier. And basically there's nothing productive that comes out of that. And from a karma perspective, if you generate anger, you destroy the merit that has been stored in your mind. Like if you've been trying to cultivate your meditation practice, you're trying to cultivate virtue, you're trying to increase your love and your compassion and your wisdom, and you're engaging in these activities, they all place very positive imprints in the mind to ripen in the future. And if you're angry, it can completely destroy those merits. They call it merits. So anger is very destructive. So that's something that we need to develop. We need to oppose through the cultivation of patience. So practicing patience is one of the very important practices in Buddhism. We need to be patient. We need to be patient with, it's said that there are 3 types of patience. Patience of not retaliating, patience of enduring situations and accepting difficult situations. And there's another patience called the patience of accepting hardship when we're trying to develop our mind. Because one of the other verses that Shantideva mentions that at the times of battle, there's much bloodshed. So he's saying that when it comes to trying to tame our wild elephant mind, it's not a difficult task. I mean, it's a difficult task. It will be difficult. So, in a way that you say in a battle there'll be bloodshed. So we're saying you need to be patient. You need to endure what might be hardship to develop that patience. But the benefit, of course, is reducing anger. There's more inner peace. There's more inner calm. You're able to face situations, feel a lot better. So there's all the benefits from practicing patience. So that's a really important wild part of the mind to be tamed. And the other side, the next most harmful mind is the mind of attachment, which is more difficult to understand. Typically it's described that attachment exaggerates the qualities of the object that we're attached to and beyond what they really are. So, I don't know. I'm just thinking from an example of somebody that's very attached to wanting a car that they love, really desire to have this car, and go through all preparations and hardships to end up getting that car, and then find that perhaps it's not actually, as soon as you own it, it's not actually exactly what you thought it would be. And also along that way, who knows what you've done. You could have, because it was something that you wanted so much, you might have harmed people in the way of trying to possess that. You never know. I don't know. And of course, lustful desire. That's something that we can see in society that causes a lot of problems. It's an extreme version of attachment. But so attachment and anger or hatred are the two most influential negative states of mind that we want to try to abandon and lessen. These are what, in the Buddhist terminology, they're called delusions or afflictive emotions. So the cause of our unrest and our dissatisfaction, lack of contentment, is all because of these afflictive emotions. They're what influence us the most in our day-to-day life. Jealousy, for example, we've all felt jealousy, and that's a disturbing type of experience. Competitiveness and pride, arrogant pride, that causes a lot of hardship to people, and it's also not a content and rested mind either. So I've gone right off everything I was even going to talk about, but I just thought that was good to just cover it, because what I really would like to leave you all with after these 4 weeks, if you come back next week or any other times, the main thing is the precious opportunity that we have right now in order to develop our potential. Because the circumstances to have met with the Buddhist teachings are extremely rare. And having met the Buddhist teachings, to have even faith in the Buddhist teachings, to have interest, to want to be able to follow in some way, is extremely rare. And without being a human being, there's no way you can consider developing the potential of your mind. My dog can't do any more than be excited about fetching a ball, and wanting to eat. But as a human being, we have an opportunity. So it's not, in Buddhism it doesn't talk just about being a human being, it talks about having a precious human rebirth. And so we have all had a great opportunity to, or have obtained a precious human rebirth, which is generally made up of 8 freedoms and 10 endowments. That's typically how it's presented in Buddhism. And just to mention the 8 freedoms, some of those 8 freedoms, you know, if we're born in a hell realm, there's no way we can meditate and do anything. If we're born in this other realm, this preta realm, a spirit realm, where you're constantly searching for food and water, you can't meditate, you can't do anything. If you're born in the animal realm, you don't have the intelligence or to develop your potential. And you're living in fear of being eaten by other animals and, you know, just surviving. But then, and then there's another one, which is called the long life God. And in this life of a long life God, it's it's not a human realm, it's a further realm above the human realm, it's a godly realm. And in that realm, there's so much pleasure. The long life God, actually the first moment of their life is described that, oh, I have achieved the life of a long life God. And they're in the whole duration of their life is in a state of bliss. And very peaceful, very blissful, it lasts for a very long time, but then it finishes and that's the end of that. So they've had no opportunity to do anything. But with a precious human rebirth, where we have met the Buddha's teachings are flourishing, then there is a real opportunity to do something meaningful. So this is a quote from Lama Tsongkhapa. This is the statue of Lama Tsongkhapa here. Lama Tsongkhapa was from the 13th century in Tibet, and he was sometimes described as the second Buddha, and was amazing. Was so clear in his presentation of Buddhism. It was said that he had, Manjushri is the Buddha of wisdom, and, you know, has a sword and has a Dharma text resting here like that. And Manjushri, the embodiment of all the Buddha's wisdom, appeared to him quite regularly, and they had direct communication like that, which only happens to people that are highly evolved spiritually. And so Lama Tsongkhapa wrote this verse: "This opportune physical form is worth more than a wish-fulfilling jewel. You only gain it like this once. So hard to get, so easily destroyed, it's like a lightning bolt in the sky. Contemplate this and you will realise all worldly actions are but winnowed chaff. And day and night you must extract some essence from your life. I, the yogi, practice this way. You wanting liberation, do the same." So all of these wonderful lamas in the Buddhist tradition encourage us to make use of our human life and use it to develop in a positive potential. So, has anyone got any questions or want to explore anything a bit further? Because I'll keep talking for another 10 minutes and then, you know, we'll do another meditation. So, what do people think about the idea of reincarnation? Are they open to that idea? Or who is open to that? Or who is open to that? Yeah, good. Yeah, well, now that's a very good point. You know, when the Buddha was dying, he said to his disciples, "Don't follow me just because I'm the Buddha. You know, you need to investigate the teachings that I've given you like a goldsmith investigates gold. So you need to break it, you need to burn it, you need to rub it, you need to make sure it's real gold. And only if it's real gold should you buy it. So in the same way, the Buddhist teachings are totally open for your discrimination. Yes?
I find that interesting because I feel that with a lot of other religions,
Yeah.
it talks about conforming and listening without kind of the critical thinking, without encouraging
Yeah.
the critical thinking as
Yes.
much, like more like follow me, like I told
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's an important thing because we're talking about what we believe and how we feel, and so we have to make that investigation to gain real conviction about that. I remember when I first became interested in Buddhism, I was just a young 20-year-old at the time, and surfing friends and partying and all of that, and my friends couldn't understand what it is that I was into. And there was just no question in my mind. I really had a strong conviction about that. I'd read a lot and everything just gelled. So I wasn't shaken in the slightest by any mocking or questioning or what are you doing? So this is a really important part about Buddhism, and I'm glad you waved your hand like that about reincarnation, because we need to investigate that and think about it and come to our own decision. It doesn't matter, really. I mean, the most important thing in our life is that we be a good human being. That's the most important thing. And Geshe Doga has often said, because, when your interest and connection with Buddhism grows, often people will take refuge, which is a point where you're actually acknowledging, and it's usually done in a formal ceremony with the Lama before you, and he'll give a bit of a teaching about the refuge objects of the Buddha, the Dharma and the Sangha. And you make a commitment, you make a promise, or you make a vow that I am going to follow the Buddha's teachings from now on. And so Geshe Doga has often said that when he sees people that are not Buddhist, technically, but they're offering service to the community, and he's seeing that they're very kind-hearted, he said, as far as I'm concerned, they're Buddhists. So yes. So reincarnation, I like to talk about that, and I did read about that a bit today because I've got my own logical thoughts that I've read before and I've thought about, and they're what I connect with. So for me, I feel confident about that. But it was very interesting. This afternoon, I just happened to be Googling on logic on reincarnation, because it often takes you to some of the Tibetan Buddhist sites, and it took me to a letter that Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who was one of the founders of Tibetan Buddhism in the West, wrote to a prisoner that was going to be executed in 3 months. And I thought, my God, I actually couldn't finish reading it because it was a very long letter. And so this prisoner had, there's a nun called Rabina, and for a long time she actually went to the prisons and she spoke to the inmates, those that were interested to be spoken to, about Buddhism, about meditation, about purification or whatever. And anyway, this person connected with Buddhism and he became a Buddhist. And so Rabina organised for this letter to go to Lama Zopa, and he wrote back. And, it's a wonderful letter. I can't quite say what it was all about. but he did send a photo of Chenrezig. This is Chenrezig. This is forearm Chenrezig. It's the Buddha of compassion. So if you can imagine the Buddha, all the qualities of infinite compassion are manifested in the aspect and appear as Chenrezig. So Lama Zopa gave this inmate a picture of Chenrezig and said, you need to say the prayer to Chenrezig. every day. And, you know, he said a lot more, but he said, at the time when you're just about to be executed, you need to bring Chenrezig strongly into your mind, place your utmost trust in Chenrezig, and what you need to do is take on the suffering of all the other inmates that are going to endure execution. You take on their suffering. You're going to experience their suffering on their behalf, including the executors. You're going to take on their negative karma from arranging this to happen. And he said the judges who decided this to happen, you take on all their negative karma. And he said by generating such a virtuous mind at the time of death, he said you will be protected in many ways by that. Doesn't matter what the heinous crime he must have done. I don't know what that was. No doubt it must have been heinous to be executed. He murdered people. But if at the point of death you are able to have faith, regret, virtue, if you have a virtuous mind at the point of death, then your immediate next life will be a good rebirth. If you don't, then the most prominent karma that you've engaged in your life is what will manifest at that point of death. And you know, there's no doubt about it, you know, without that regret and faith, it's just a rebirth in the lower realms for such a thing. So anyway, 5 more minutes and then we'll do another meditation. But then in this letter he talks about reincarnation, and he said, so I suppose you've just recently become a Buddhist and you've thought about or you've heard about reincarnation. And so the main logic that Lama Zopa presented to this convict inmate was that, you know, the mind is continuous. So if we talk about the mind, what is the mind? The mind is clear and knowing, and it's able to perceive its objects. So it's clear and knowing, and it's a stream of consciousness. So I can think about what I had for dinner tonight. We all can remember what we had for dinner tonight, but that's already gone. How can we remember that? Because there's a continuation of mind, of thought going on. I can remember what I did yesterday. It starts to get hard when you start to look back in, you know, immediate days. Remember what I did last Christmas, or, you know, you can remember because the mind is continuous. And I can remember childhood. I can remember things that happened in my childhood. So how is that possible if there isn't a continuation of mind? So there must be a continuation of mind in order for that to happen. And Lama Zopa went on to say there are people that he knows that can remember when they were in the womb at the time of birth. Most people can't. My earliest memory is probably when I was 3 or 4, I guess, I don't know. But anyway, but the thing is the continuity. And mind is clear and knowing, is formless, is shapeless, has no colour. And the logic that I've always connected with about reincarnation is that sperm and egg come together and the baby grows. But like I like doing woodwork, I can't make a mind out of wood. So out of form, you cannot make mind. So, but mind can only exist from a prior mind. So this is sort of the point that shows then. So at the point of conception, yes, of course, this body is a product of my parents. There's no doubt about that. There's lots to talk about because there's the brain, and then, you know, we do know that there's a connection between the brain and the mind. there's a definite connection. You drink alcohol, your mind, you get a bit crazy. So there is a connection between mind and body, but the mind itself cannot be created from form. So it must have existed in the prior moment. So you go back like that. So then at the point of conception, the cause of the mind at the point of conception must have been a prior mind. And therefore, that prior mind would have been, Buddhism talks about, after death, there's the bardo state, the state beyond the next life, the intermediate state. So, and then after the intermediate state is birth in your next life. So when you're going back, you've got the point of conception, the moment prior, must have been in the bardo. And then when you go back to that, then there must have been a point when that, that mind existed prior to that in another life. And that person died. And their mind continued into the bardo, and then through the wind of their karma from their actions that they did, whatever they did in their life determines whether they have a good rebirth or not. Then they were reborn into their current life. So the extension goes with this life. We are going to face our death, everyone, at some point, definitely. We don't think it will, but it's going to happen. It's going to be an event. It's going to be an experience that we're going to go through. So, this is where you need to do your own analysis and own thinking. Some people are adamant. It's just like blowing a candle out. It's the end of life. Who cares? And, if that's the case, then, then there's nothing to worry about. You can do whatever you want in your life. It's sort of, it doesn't quite connect for me. I can't quite accept that. But then, our teachers, Geshe Doga, Lama Zoba, His Holiness, they all say, look, there's just no question about it. After this life, the mind continues. The body ends. Yes.
The idea that what you do has a sum total onto the next level.
Has what, sorry?
That the karma that you generate, or the peak of karma or not, has a result onto the next life.
Yeah.
Doesn't change whether or not you believe it is a candle blowing out. It's that you're still doing good for everybody else doesn't change. That even if you believe that the soul is a candle blown out,
Yeah.
doesn't matter if the sum total of what you do still.
Yeah.
You should still be trying to do good things, even if you believe that doesn't matter, because you're still going to ripple onto the rest of humanity.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't change purely by the idea that it doesn't, like the sum total of your karma within your life doesn't change if there is no afterlife. If the soul goes nowhere, it's still just as important to put positivity out there.
Well, that's true, and we know that from our own personal experience of if we have harmony with our partner and people we work with, life is happy. And if we don't, and we live a non-virtuous life, a immoral life, then we'll experience a lot of unrest. So is that what you're saying? Yeah. I mean, look at the number of billionaires that have, had unhappy lives, and some have committed suicide. And so, yeah, I guess from just this life itself, we want to be happy. Everybody wants to be happy. And so, yeah, best way is to try to follow a moral life and to experience that happiness. You prompted me with something, I can't remember. But, so anyway, there's a lot more to talk about next week. I'd like to talk more about death and impermanence. Death is certain. The time of death is uncertain. What can be of benefit at the time of death? Important to think about that. possessions that I have in this life help in any way at the point of death? I know it can't. Definitely can't. Can't help anything. I watched both my parents die. Nothing goes with you. The body doesn't go with you. Friends don't go with you. The only thing that is of benefit at the point of death is virtue and a virtuous mind, and that and all those virtues are carried into your future life, carried with you. So, that's why they say it's very important if you establish a strong pattern throughout your life of wanting to practice virtue and abandon non-virtue throughout your life, chances are that habit of mind will most likely be present or more easily generated at the time of death. That's great. That's the great way to go. That ensures a good future rebirth. And something that the Dalai Lama, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, was saying was that you could have made offerings to all the infinite Buddhas, vast space, accumulate incredible merit from offering all of these incredible things, but if you were to generate the mind of bodhicitta, which is a mind that is totally dedicated to achieving enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings, that's the ultimate virtuous mind that we want to try to cultivate. If you can cultivate that sort of mind and you were to give a bit of food to an animal, the merit from doing that far exceeds all these other external things that you could do. So really it just highlights how volatile the virtuous thought can be. And yes. So all right. So let's do another meditation then. Unless there's any other questions, quick question or discussion. I can keep going. Am I rambling on a little bit? But all right. So let's just finish. And it's very important when we engage in our meditation that at the end of it we think to dedicate any virtue that might have been generated through that practice, not just for ourselves, but in order for the benefit of all sentient beings. You can dedicate it for peace in the world, and that our precious teachers live long. So let's just rejuvenate our visualization of the Buddha before us, seated on a lion's throne, upon which rests a lotus, a moon and a sun disk. And there is the Buddha sitting there. Right hand resting on his right knee, left hand holding a begging bowl filled with nectar. Looking at you smilingly, radiating light, wishing to be of greatest benefit to you and to all beings. And that light radiates powerfully, enters through your crown, completely fills your body with all the virtue and the blessings of